So I want to take a minute and just review what we've learned. And there's a lot of really great reasons for reviewing what we've learned. One, it's going to help reinforce and cement what you've already learned. It's going to be like, just like in the beginning we did a little bit of tour of what we're going to learn. Here at the end we're going to do a little bit of a tour, just a quick overview of what we have already learned. And studies show that when you use this process of preview, view, review. So the process of previewing something, viewing it, and then reviewing it, studies show you have a much higher retention of what you've learned when you use that process. So that's one of the reasons we're going to do this little review. And the other reason we're going to do this review is because you need to pat yourself on the back. You've done fantastic. You've learned so much. You've stuck with me through all these lectures, and we've really covered pretty much 90% of what you could use Microsoft Word for. And just taking a moment to review where we've been, it really sort of like makes you realize, hey, wow, we really did cover a lot of material, and I really have learned a lot of stuff. And heck yeah, I'm going to pat myself on the back. I'm going to pat myself on the back. Good job, self. I did a good job, right? So good job to you. Good job to me. We've really covered a lot of material. So we're going to do a little bit of a review here. And I'm just going to scroll up. And this is sort of what the instructor view looks like when you're creating a Udemy course. And in here I have listed like everything we've covered. So we've learned about everything from the different versions of Microsoft Office to how do we get discount pricing, what's the difference between Microsoft Office and Google Drive, and which one I think you should use, which of course is Google Drive, how you could watch and change video settings when you're watching videos either here on Udemy or on YouTube, how you download the files for this course, which you already know already. Something you've never seen, we saw how to create that random sort of thing to generate text equals random 1414, and that's something that the vast majority, and I mean like 99% of people who use Microsoft Word do not know. So you now know something that will, like, you could impress people with, and that's cool. We looked at different formatting levels, and so we kind of looked at like how there's, you know, character level formatting, how there's paragraph level formatting, how there's section level formatting, and how there's page level formatting, and why that's important, and how we can create different sections in our document to make different areas of our document look different, right? So that's super important. We saw how to create a title page, and so we saw how to sort of center text horizontally and vertically on the page, and how we created a new section to do that. We looked at how using styles is amazing, because once we apply style to something, we can then go modify that style, and when we modify that style, it will change the way every style, you know, that uses every piece of highlighting or every piece of formatting in our document that uses that style will change globally throughout the document. So it's really a great tool for being able to update how a certain piece of your document looks. And then it's also a really great tool because you could use things like automatically building a table of contents, which is right here. And we used you know, our styles to automatically generate a table of contents based upon anything that was formatted with style heading 1. And so that's a really great deal. We looked at how to manage references and inserting a citation, and then also creating a bibliography and formatting that as like MLA or APA, which again is huge. I wish I totally had this when I was in school because it would have helped so much. I hated manually formatting things as APA, MLA. It just took forever, and it really makes a lot of sense that this is automated for us and that we can use Microsoft Word to do that. We also looked at how to work with headers and footers and insert page numbers, and some of the intricacies and little problems we could run into when we do that. We talked about content and form, which I hope is a concept which is really familiar to you now, because it's super essential to know about whenever you're conveying any information to people. And I go over this in pretty much all of my presentations, right? When Microsoft is Excel, it's important, like not only what is the data, but how do you present the data. And in doing a PowerPoint presentation, or when you're going to give a talk to somebody, really you don't want to use PowerPoint as a crutch, right? You want to use it as a tool to help you more effectively convey your content. You want to make sure your form is really great. And so content and form, great concept, and super valuable to know about. Finding and inserting a picture, formatting a picture, removing an image's background, finished document, right, where we had our finished paper. And of course we learned how to create a paper, but that's these skills that you learned in this little section right here. Those are skills that are going to transfer to anything that you do. So whether it's creating a paper or a report or a business document or a letter, all those skills are going to apply. Then we kind of stepped into, okay, so that's a real applied way. That's a real applied way of using Microsoft Word. Now let's start to look at some of the other things which are really essential to using Microsoft Word. I love the preview and dictation function. So if we're in Microsoft Word, I go into File, dang, where is it? And I think it's under File, no, Word, Preferences, and then, and this is the way it goes, right? You kind of bang around. I'm not seeing it. Audio Notes, is that it? So that's where I do my settings. So this is a good example for you because it shows you that no matter how skilled you are with Microsoft Word, there's a lot to know here. And so it's a great time to ask that question. It's like, okay, well, two things that are important about this is like, one, you get to see that even somebody who's an expert, who's certified by Microsoft, even somebody who's an expert, who's certified by Microsoft as a master instructor, right? There are times like, where is that tool again, right? Where I'm like, I don't use it all that often. Where do I go to find it? And I just sort of have to bang around to find it. So that's a really good illustration just to humanize, right, the difference between the teacher and the student is the teacher doesn't have all the answers, but what the important thing is how do you find the answers? And so that's the next kind of great thing about this, me just not instantly knowing where that would be, is like, how do I go about finding it? And basically I just start looking around. And so here I am, I'm looking around, maybe you already have the answer, and just logically, if I think about it, I imagine it might be under Tools, right? Because that sort of makes sense. But when I look here under Tools, I don't see it. So where would we find it? How would we go about finding it? I might try using Help and type in dictation, and see what comes up. Start dictation, menu items. And there we go. We have Start dictation. It's under Edit, Start dictation. And that's not where I would have guessed it would be. I would have guessed more like Tools or maybe even Insert because I want to insert text, and I'm going to do that with dictation. But Edit dictation, that's where we'd find it. If I go ahead and click it, I should see my microphone pop up, and there it is, and it's starting to listen to what I say. So I'm just going to hit cancel on that and come back here and continue our review. We looked at Find and Replace, really great tool for helping you get through a lot of text quickly. I showed you how to do that. We saw the style switcheroo, which quite frankly, I don't even remember what that's about. The style switcheroo, like some crazy dance in the 50s that all the kids are doing. Pretty soon you'll be doing the style switcheroo too. Now I remember. Style switcheroo, I believe, is on the home ribbon, and it's right here. Style switcheroo. Changing quick style settings. So changing the way your document looks really quickly. We saw that one. Installing fonts, using tabs, right? And using tabs to sort of like be able to put information, text in different areas on our document. The format painter, really super helpful. Undo, redo, non-printing characters, word count, readability, so enabling that readability statistic so we could come in and we could see after we've done our grammar checker, and this one I'm pretty sure I could find pretty quickly under spelling and grammar, and then saying, hey, I want to include readability statistics right there, right? And so those readability statistics, after you run the grammar checker, tell you, is this letter written at a lame enough level so that most Americans can understand it? Because I read somewhere like the average American has a reading ability of like the 3rd grade or something like that. So I don't know if that's including Americans who are just born and can't read at all or what, but you want to make sure that your readability statistics come in around the 3rd grade if you want the vast majority of people to understand it. We looked at spelling and grammar and the importance of course, doing that, which, even though it seems like it's a no-brainer to reiterate, a lot of people don't do it. We saw how we could use autocorrect to add different items in. So autocorrect is that feature where if I mistype something, right, like if I mistype Thier, it automatically turns into Their, and we get there from autocorrect. Right, we get there from autocorrect right there, and that's kind of a cool little feature you saw me just use with Help. I really like how that works. And the tools, autocorrect, we could add entries or delete entries to this. So the Thier, right, turns into Their when I type that. And so if I wanted to, I could delete that rule, or I could add another one in. Or we saw how we could use that as a little sort of prank. Whether a positive prank or negative prank. I had it illustrate, Jess, I love you, you're the most amazing wife ever. We saw how we could use the dinosaur thing called the thesaurus. We looked at inserting date and time, which will automatically update. We looked at doing hyperlinks and how we add hyperlinks. We saw using Help, and we just saw Help a little bit more again. And we learned this thing, which is a time-tested and true technique for solving problems with computers. When you're having a problem with the computer, try restarting it, right? Like that should be like go-to number one. Like, okay, well, let's try restarting and see if that fixes it. And so we saw that. We looked at printing a document and then different things for printing a document. We saw some formatting skills like adding a watermark, doing borders and backgrounds, which I really loved, the palm tree borders, doing line numbers to make things, easier to reference when we're sharing a document with other people, hyphenation, a cover page, the automated cover pages that they have you can put in, word art, creating equations. Then we kind of took a little bit of a tour of some of the different regions within the document. We looked at using templates. So automatic, documents that are already created, and then we use those because, a lot of the work's already done for us. So we just insert the information into something that's already created, and knowing how to go in and say, all right, well, let's just look at the different templates that are available, new from template. That's a really helpful thing to know. We did kind of a cursory overview of the ribbons, the toolbars, the menus, and the panels in those different regions and what they show. We looked at at inserting columns into our document, and we saw that a couple of times. So that should be something that certainly comes up for you, going right here and just saying, hey, how many columns do you want? Or being able to have a few more options right there. We saw how to use powers and subscripts. So if we wanted to add, to the nth power or to the subscript or whatever, we looked at sorting a list. We saw how to do borders around paragraphs, how to do drop caps, how to do bulleted lists or numbered lists, how to include text boxes, so like a little bit of a call out, how to use shapes, and how to use different themes, right? So quickly apply how our document looks. So then we also took a quick look at the integration between Word and Excel. And once again, if you want to learn more about this, I really recommend taking my Excel class. And we saw how to use SmartArt. And then we looked at document reviewing, which is really fantastic, right? So when you're kind of like reviewing a document for somebody and you want to sort of share your thoughts, what you thought, this is a great way to do it. Or when you want somebody to review your document, they can make all those changes and then you can kind of accept and reject the changes and you can see what their thoughts were and are, and you can see what got crossed out and what got added. So a really great thing. We looked at protecting your document by adding a password to it, and then some other good to know things. We looked at how we could change case really quickly, and that's one of my really, I think, favorite things right here, change case. I really think this is pretty dang fantastic. And we also saw some font formatting and paragraph formatting. We revisited those a little bit. And we looked at the view menu, and we looked at mail merge, so we could create spam, right? We could create junk mail. And there's even an option, which I didn't cover, to mail merge straight to email. So you could actually mail merge straight to email, though they've put in a little bit of a blocker, so it's hard to sort of do that on a mass level and become a spam king. So, and then the last thing we looked at was, and I haven't added the final categories in here of what we did, but we just saw these videos on creating a great resume and a great cover letter and the importance of that. So we've really learned some fantastic stuff. And that video right there was 13 minutes long, just the review, talking about everything we learned. So good on ya, as they would say down in Australia, good on ya. You did a great job. You've learned some fantastic things. You got some really good skills. I hope you enjoyed this tour. I hope it did cement for you. Oh, hell yeah. We certainly did cover a lot of stuff. Dang, Todd was right. That was a lot, right? And I hope you got that warm, fuzzy feeling for, that comes from sort of like, appreciating, taking a moment to appreciate yourself for what you've accomplished, because you've accomplished a lot, and I'm proud of you. So good job, and I have one more thing to share in this final lecture, which is basically my farewell. So take a moment to listen to that, and then that will be it, and I will see you hopefully in one of my other courses.